And we're going to be talking with Dr. Darrell Handwerger, family nurse practitioner and founder of South Florida Integrative Health Center. We're going to be talking about gut health and skin health, which is actually a topic that's been brought into the news recently with the blockbuster Barbie movie, which Margot Robbie is starring in. And in Harper's Bazaar a few days ago, there was an article about the gut health protocol that Margot Robbie used to get her luminous skin for this movie. So we are going to be looking into the secrets that Margot Robbie used to get this great skin today as we talk to Dr. Handwerger. So you're not going to want to miss this. So make sure you stay tuned. We'll be right back in a minute.
Start taking control of your health with functional medicine expert and nurse practitioner Darrell Handwerger. And now, another episode of Integrative Insights, where Darrell, with over 2 decades of real practical experience in functional and integrative medicine, brings the best of today's holistic medicine to you. Nothing in this program should be taken as medical advice. This is for educational purposes only. Consult your healthcare practitioner about anything discussed today before making any changes.
Hi, Dr. Handwerger. How are you today?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here and so happy to be talking about gut health. It's a real important issue today.
Yes, it is. And I'll tell you, you've been doing gut health for many years. And this isn't new to you, but I have to say, when I saw this article, I was intrigued. And I'd like to know, what is she doing over there in Hollywood? What are they doing with this gut health skin protocol?
I know it is pretty amazing to see how gut health now has hit the mainstream media. It's Hollywood stars are talking about gut health protocols. And, we here at South Florida Integrative Health Center have always focused in on the gut as being a root cause for overall health. So when we see that the gut and that gut health is become now, people are becoming more aware of it. We're very excited. No secret. It's no secret because the information, the research on gut health has been out there, and functional medicine practitioners out there in the world trying to get people healthier by fixing the root causes have been working on gut health and using the information that we know in the research to help people with improving their gut. We've been doing this now for at least 20, 25 years. But what's changed is that there is so much more research now. And the testing for the gut microbiome has now advanced to join in with the research that now we can make these individualized gut health protocols that really improve a person's health.
Well, this isn't so brand new either. I mean, we think about gut health now, everyone seems to be so aware of it. But in fact, Hippocrates, many generations ago, even said that all disease begins in the gut. So there must have been some understanding of that even back at that point in time. Well, I have to say that Margot Robbie doesn't look like somebody who needs help with health in any way. She's beautiful. She looks fit. She has all of everything going for her. Do you get people, they come into your clinic, is it possible that they look really healthy on the outside, but they're not so much on the inside? Is it possible to have that?
Yeah, it's a good point. So much of health is not so visible on the outside. It's what's going on the inside. And there's nothing more than gut health that shows you that what's so important is what's going on the inside. It all does begin in the gut. How our vitamins and minerals and essential fats and proteins are absorbed is all about gut health. And how we're digesting food is all about gut health. And what's so important is that in the gut, I think it's important to understand what does it mean, gut health. And gut health is this wonderful balance of bacteria viruses, yeast, parasites. Yes, they all are in the gut at very small, almost non detectable amounts. But when one begins to overgrow and outcrowd others, this is when we begin to get inflammation or poor absorption of vitamins, and our immune system begins to overreact. And that's when we begin to have skin issues. So what's so important is to get to the gut first. And it might not be so visible on the outside at the beginning. So when we look deeply into a person's gut health, we're looking at this gut bacterial overgrowth, especially the specific types of bacteria that are more inflammatory, especially inflammatory for the skin when it comes to skin health. So, what's going on the outside doesn't always reflect what's going on the inside. So, what we want to do is be ahead of the game. We want to be proactive and take a look at what's going on in the gut. Is there a gut overgrowth of bacteria, yeast, parasites? Is there poor digestion, like not digesting fats, uh, or our immune system of the gut is just overreactive to every food, and that creates inflammation? All of this can be found out on a very advanced, a very scientific, proven stool test that we do here at our integrative center.
Wow. So what you're saying is what happens in the gut doesn't stay in the gut, as they say about Vegas. I
Right,
have
right.
to
So much the gut affects other systems in the body, and that is something that we're seeing every day in the research. And that's why it's so important when you want to get to the root cause of health, you really look at the gut health picture. And now all of a sudden, these other systems in the body start improving as well.
wow. So when we think about gut health nowadays, it seems like everybody's pushing probiotics and that that's the answer. But I notice in the article, in the title, again from Harper's Bazaar, that it says that she used a gut health protocol. A protocol to me seems to mean that it's not so straightforward. So, what's your take on that? Is a probiotic enough?
Well, that's a good point. When you see that it's a gut health protocol, it really, you do understand that it's so much more than just taking a probiotic. So when we talk about gut health, we are talking about all these different species in the gut. So I mentioned that there could be these bacteria that normally live in our gut, but when they overgrow, they become inflammatory. There are yeast and parasites that they live in our gut, but when they overgrow, they can create other issues. So we want to make a complete, personalized, and individualized plan, protocol that's based on this gut microbiome testing. So we know what is overgrown, and that's the protocol we're going to go and we're going to address the particular type of overgrowth. Is it yeast? Could it be parasites that are overgrown? Could it be these opportunistic inflammatory types of bacteria? Then the protocol is going to include intestinal health or digestion, meaning is there enough sufficient enzymes that are measured in an advanced test to see that a person can be breaking down the proteins and absorbing those important amino acids. And we look to see also the gallbladder health to see if the digestion of fats is being done efficiently. And that way, a person is getting their fat soluble vitamins, those very important vitamins. And this is all important part of a protocol and also includes all these different types of foods because food is always part of a gut health protocol because we know that there are better foods for a person to be eating depending on what's going on in the gut. For example, if they have an overgrowth of yeast, there's going to be certain types of foods to be really particular about. If there's going to be an overgrowth of H. pylori or overgrowth of other opportunistic bacteria, we know that there's going to be certain fibers, certain important antioxidant or polyphenols from certain important fruits and vegetables that are going to be very appropriate for each person personally and individualized.
Wow. So it definitely is much more than just taking a probiotic. It's about food. It's about absorption. It's about the physiology, the working of the gut, and how it works appropriately, how we get those nutrients in, which then ultimately affect the health of the skin and so forth. So
Right,
that's
right,
really
right.
So tell me then, if a person, if a person walking around daily, having a great time in life, really not thinking that anything's wrong, why would they ever feel like they had anything wrong with their gut? Why would they be needing gut health?
Well, that's a good question, and again, I see on our stream here that someone has a question about signs and symptoms. How does a person know about their gut health? And that's a good question because sometimes they're very subtle. So at times, a person knows they just have poor digestion. They get bloated, they get constipated or diarrhea. Whenever they eat, they get more reactive to certain foods or maybe some brain fog. But at times, then it's a little bit more subtle. There's vitamins that are not being absorbed, so they get deficient in certain fat soluble vitamins and certain nutrients or minerals. So we can see on functional medicine testing or more in depth blood testing if we see levels of inflammation that we're unsure where that inflammation is coming from, if we see the immune system that's overreactive or underreactive, like fatigued, tired out, we want to look more deeply into the gut because 70% of our immune system is in the gut. If we see that a person has more of a depressed mood or their neurotransmitters are not ideal because of certain mood states, then we want to look also deeply into the gut because neurotransmitters are also made by the gut bacteria. So the gut is so important for brain health. So it connects all these systems. So sometimes when a person is walking in and it might not look like it's a gut issue, but it's coming from somewhere else, you still want to address the gut because a lot of the root causes are coming from the gut.
It seems like to me that the secret today that we're really getting to, I guess, to use the cliche, to the root cause of the secret, or the root of the secret, is that it's a personalized approach. It's a personalized approach that you're taking to gut health. That it's not a generic protocol. There are generic protocols I've seen online for gut health programs, maintenance programs, but clearly it's very different for each person. So it seems that the secret is to have the personalized approach to this. And this all sounds really terrific, not just because of the effects that it could have for my skin and beauty, but also for the effects it could have on the functioning of other systems in the body as well. So I have to ask, how could I get a personalized protocol?
Well, it's that's such an important point that it has to be personalized because there are these generalized liver like detoxes or parasite cleanses that are generally good, but when it comes to improving one's health, it is so important not to guess. So we really to know what's going on in the gut through the advanced stool testing that really looks at overgrowths of bacteria, overgrowths of yeast, really pinpoints digestion. You could see that whether there's a proper digestion of fats, enough sufficient enzymes. And then you could really personalize a program based on each person's individualized testing and their symptoms as well. And because the protocol covers these overgrowths or covers also, we didn't really discuss that there are these keystone species, like these good bacteria, not just what's in the typical probiotics. And that's why, as we discussed a moment ago, why a probiotic's not just good enough, just a probiotic. It's because with the good bacteria, there's also more and more we're learning more about these good bacteria, different species that are creating health, creating good health. And that's what's so important. So we really want to personalize a program, bring up these important good bacteria, not just the ones we see in a probiotic, but these other species that require certain fibers, certain foods, certain vegetables and fruits that really help them to grow. We want to bring down the overgrowths that we mentioned that are inflammatory, such as parasites, yeast, fungi, viruses, H. pylori. We want to really control and bring that overgrowth down. We want to make sure that there's proper digestion with, again, digesting fats, breaking down proteins, and that the immune system of the gut is sufficient, not fatigued, and is not overreactive. We want to also make sure that a person's not reacting to certain foods that they're eating, and that's causing more inflammation. And that's how we really design a personalized program. And we really make sure that this program is going to improve the other systems in the body because it's holistic. We look at the whole person and bring the whole health picture together. So it's not just dividing a person into each individual system. It's going to put it all together with gut health as the foundation that brings it all together.
Thank you very much. That was really informative, and I have a whole new look at gut health. I again had no idea how involved it was, and the broad-reaching effects. Well, thank you so much. Please check out the website below, and also uh, the 15-minute discovery call using the telephone number below. And thank you guys for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a health.
Hey, feeling good, like I should.